My name is Kambili and I'm 15 years old, seemingly living a life people consider as wealthy. My father is a rich business Igbo man. He is so rich that we do not lack anything in the house. I would consider my father an expression killer. He drives happiness away from everybody in the entire family, that our house was far from what people call happy home. I will give you an example. One day, we were in church. My father openly humiliated my mother all because she wore a new scarf to church. In his words, she was embracing vanity. And so this was an open disgrace for my mother. But as always, she bared the humiliation, and again, for peace to reign, she allowed it to slide. Upon a certain day, my place in Enugu started experiencing coup d'etat, and my father had to quickly send I and my brother, Jaja, to go and live with my auntie somewhere else. Arriving to Auntie Forma's house, I thought Auntie Forma would be an exact replica of my father, as we've always heard that Auntie Forma had a vibrant spirit and she was independent. But that wasn't the case, because upon getting there, we realized that Auntie Forma was the exact opposite of my father. She was all loving, all caring, and her house was a typical example of a house of happiness or a family of happiness. I loved it in Auntie Forma's place, and so does my brother Jaja. We do not want to go back to our father's house. With time, Grandpa or Papa Nuku fell ill, so Auntie Forma had to bring Papa Nuku to our house. We're all living happily, taking care of Papa Nuku. Papa Nuku was not a Christian, just like our own father. So we made sure that each time our father called us on phone to know how we were doing, we never told our father that Papa Nuku was in the house, lest he would say that we are living with a sinner. With time, the strike went on, where all the medical facilities in the state or in the country went on strike. Remember that Papa Nuku was not feeling fine and we're the ones taking care of him. But when the hospital went on strike, we could not take care of him again. He was out of medication. Until one night, Papa Nuku slept and never woke up again. We all felt really bad. A loving father indeed. As soon as Papa heard this, he ran to come and pick us immediately. He was so angry that as soon as we got to the house in Enugu, after flogging I and my younger brother Jaja mercilessly, he also made us to place our leg out and poured hot water on our legs for choosing to live with a sinner in Papa's words. We grew hatred for our father even if we couldn't express it. At another occasion, Jaja did something little that every other child would have done and they would have scolded the child. But Papa made sure that he hanged himself like Jesus for crucifixion, and then he flogged him mercilessly. This was too brutish of our father, but we couldn't confront him on it. I loved Grandpa so much, and I was beginning to miss Grandpa. Somehow, I took solace in looking at Grandpa's picture and wishing he was still alive. At least I would have known what a fatherly love meant. But upon doing this, my father caught me. He so beat me mercilessly that I woke up in a hospital. The entire family was there. I'm sure they thought that I must have passed out or I must have died, because indeed the beating was what's finding me in the mortuary. I saw Auntie begging my father to please allow me to come stay with her, to please so that I could recover fully in my auntie's house, Auntie Forma. My father finally agreed right there in the hospital. I also saw Auntie pulling my mom to one corner and telling my mom secretly, "You have the power to stop this. Put an end to this." Somehow, I went to live in Auntie's house, and I didn't really know what took place back in my own house, as Jaja and my mother was meant to live with my father. Do you know that in all this plight, in all this my father's dehumanization, the society still respected my father, so much so that they never questioned him for beating his wife alongside his children. This was because my father was a very respectable newspaper publisher, and he happens to be the only news publisher in my town. So nobody dares question his actions. While I was still living happily in Auntie Former's place, I got to find out that I actually love boys. Of course, I started exposing myself to romance story. I wanted to express things and learn the right way. I didn't want to be caged like a caged bird, says Maya Angelou. So I loved it in Auntie's place. But one day we got a call from home. A sad story. Mom has lost her child again in miscarriage. Daddy, for the second time, has beaten a child out of my mother's womb. This didn't go down well with us. We felt really bad. How can we stop this? Auntie tries to intervene, but she couldn't. No one could. My mom was feeling depressed. We could tell. It was written all over her face. She looks at me and she says, Kambili. I look at my mom and I can't really console her because I really did not know what it means to lose a child. As time went on, we noticed that my father was getting weaker and weaker and weaker. But however, he wasn't getting older, but he was getting weaker. Until one day, we got a call from the house that my father was dead. Wow! All of a sudden. We all traveled back to really know the cause of the matter, and then my mom secretly admitted to me and my younger brother Jaja that she was the one that poisoned my father to die. Jaja, upon hearing this, felt fulfilled and decided to take the blame for my mother. So when the police came and they found out that it was poison, Jaja said he was the one that put the poison in my father's food. With time, my brother was sentenced to prison. On the other hand, Auntie got a relocation to the US alongside her family. So Auntie Former moved to the US with her family, while I was made to stay back with my mom. With time, we also went to see my brother in the prison where he was. Mom was trying to see everything within her power to make sure that she gets my brother out of prison. But will she succeed? Nobody knows if she will. But with the change of government, we have hope once more that he will surely come out sometime in the future. So with this, we have come to the beautiful end of the book Purple Hibiscus by our own renowned and excellent writer Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. Now I want us to carefully evaluate and understand this book, Purple Hibiscus. Let's use each characters to evaluate our own lives. The person of Kambili, a 15-year-old girl who wasn't given the opportunity to express her adolescent age or her teenage age. The person of Jaja, the young boy who hates his father so much so that he was ready to take his mom's blame. His sister, Auntie Former, who despite seeing how wrong her brother is, could not save the situation. And what could have driven a man to be so religious driven? Like that of Mr. Chike Eugene. So guys, let's evaluate each characters and see how we could bring it to our present day life, our own personal life, in order for us to remove the scales from our eyes before judging the narrative of the book. This book is a whole lot, and I'll advise my viewers, or I'll advise you now, to go and get the book Purple Hibiscus by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. I'll leave the comment section open for a conversation, but just know that I love you so much, and that is why I show up here. Anyways, in case you're just joining us for the very first time, this is Smash Book with Miracle Chiso, and a warm welcome to all our first time viewers. Kindly do well to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our videos, share our links to your loved ones, to lover of books, good literature. Share our links to your friends and Let them join us in our next series next week Thursday. I hope to see you guys. Do not forget to follow us on social media on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, on Smashbook with Miracle Cheese. So kiss kiss. Bye.